Only about 10% of people who pick individual stocks actually beat the market over time. 90% don't. Not because they're unlucky, not because they're bad at math, because they're playing a game most professionals with teams of analysts and supercomputers also lose. I'm Mr. Wealth, and today I'm going to show you exactly why the boring option usually wins, and why that changes everything about how you should be investing. Let's start with why this actually matters to you, right now, not someday. If you're putting money into the market, whether it's $50 a month or $5,000, the choice between individual stocks and index funds isn't a small preference. Over 30 years, it's the difference between potentially having enough to retire comfortably and potentially having a portfolio that never quite caught up. So let's break down what these two things actually are, because the terms get thrown around a lot without anyone explaining the mechanics. An individual stock is ownership in one company. You buy shares of Apple, you own a tiny sliver of Apple. Your fortune rises and falls with that one company's decisions, competition, leadership, and luck. An index fund is different. Instead of betting on one company, you're buying a small piece of hundreds, sometimes thousands of companies at once. The most common example is an S&P 500 index fund. It holds the 500 largest publicly traded companies in America, all in one purchase. Here's the simplest way to think about it. Picking individual stocks is trying to find the best players. Buying an index fund is owning the entire team. Now here's where it gets interesting, because on the surface, individual stocks sound like the better deal. Higher risk, higher reward, right? You've heard the stories. Someone bought Amazon in 2001, someone bought Nvidia in 2015, and they're sitting on life-changing money. Those stories are real. They're also survivorship bias in its purest form. For every person who bought the stock that went up 1,000%, there were dozens who bought stocks that went to zero or just quietly underperformed for a decade. You only hear about the winners because the losers don't make good stories. So let's look at the actual data, not the anecdotes. Every year, a company called S&P Dow Jones Indices publishes something called the SPIVA report. It tracks how many professional fund managers, people whose entire job is picking stocks, actually beat the S&P 500 index. Over a 15-year period, more than 85% of actively managed U.S. stock funds underperform the index they're being compared against. Read that again. These are professionals, full-time analysts, people with access to data and research the average person will never see. And the majority of them still can't beat a fund that just owns the market and does nothing. Here's the part most people don't realize. The reason isn't that professionals are bad at their jobs, it's that beating the market consistently is mathematically brutal. Markets move on information that gets priced in almost instantly. By the time you've done your research on a stock, thousands of other people, including algorithms running in microseconds, have already reacted to the same information. You're not just competing against other individual investors, you're competing against an entire ecosystem built to find and eliminate any edge within seconds. And then there's the fee problem, which quietly eats returns without anyone noticing. Actively managed funds, the ones trying to beat the market, typically charge somewhere between 0.5% and 1.5% in annual fees. Index funds often charge less than 0.1%. That sounds like a small difference. It isn't. On a $200,000 portfolio over 25 years, the difference between a 1% fee and a 0.03% fee can cost you well over $100,000 in lost growth. Not because the fund performed worse, just because of the fee drag, compounding year after year silently. Now, here's the myth-busting part. A lot of people assume that picking individual stocks is how the wealthy actually built their money, that Warren Buffett got rich stock picking, so that must be the path. Here's the twist.
Buffett himself has said publicly multiple times that when he dies, the majority of his own family's inheritance should go into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund, not his own hand-picked stocks, an index fund. The man considered the greatest stock picker in modern history is telling regular investors to skip stock picking. That should tell you something.
Let's contrast the common belief with the reality, plainly. The common belief is that smart, disciplined investors pick winning stocks and build wealth through skillful selection. The reality is that most long-term wealth isn't built by picking winners, it's built by consistently owning a broad slice of the economy, reinvesting the returns, and giving it enough time to compound, without fees or bad timing quietly draining the results. Wealth building through investing isn't usually a skill contest, it's a patience contest. So what does this actually mean for your own money? First, index funds aren't the safe, boring choice that beginners settle for before they're ready for the real thing. For most people, they are the real thing. Even sophisticated investors with access to every tool imaginable often can't consistently beat this simple approach. Second, if you do want to pick individual stocks, understand what you're actually doing. You're not investing. You're speculating with better information than a casino, but still no guarantee. That can be fine as a small, separate portion of your portfolio, something like 5 or 10%, treated as an experiment, not your retirement plan. Third, the biggest advantage index investing gives you isn't higher returns from stock-picking genius, it's the emotional simplicity. You're not glued to earnings reports, panicking over one company's bad quarter, or trying to time when to sell. You buy consistently, you hold, and you let decades of compounding do the heavy lifting. Here's the practical takeaway. If you're building long-term wealth, retirement, financial independence, your kids' future, the evidence overwhelmingly points toward broad, low-cost index funds as the foundation. Not because individual stocks can't work, some people do beat the market. But betting your entire financial future on being in that small minority is a bigger risk than most people realize they're taking. The market doesn't reward the person who tries the hardest to outsmart it. It rewards the person who shows up consistently and doesn't get in their own way. So ask yourself honestly, are you investing to prove you're smarter than the market, or are you investing to actually build wealth? Because more often than not, those turn out to be two very different goals.